Welcome to News with a View, hosted by me, John A. Costa. Today is November 4th, Election Day, and this is episode 151. For you joining for the first time or you're not sure about this channel, it's a conservative-leaning podcast, and I do take in both sides of an issue, look at it, and we'll try to explain why the conservatives or Republicans are taking that approach to a problem, and why some of the approaches made by the Democrats just make absolutely no sense. So, all right. Today's topics will be Kroger stores and a lot of retail stores that are now hitting the market that are making vast changes in how they're approaching retail crisis in keeping profitable. It's not that easy of a situation. Then we're going to talk about Texas, their governor saying they're going to charge a tariff for any New Yorkers that move to Texas if Mamdani wins the election. Crazy talk. I will explain why I think the Democrats have it all wrong with Medicaid and their arguments on the shutdown for it. CEOs who are leaving New York in a Mamdani win. And Republicans trying to use the 14th Amendment to get Mamdani out of office if he does win, which I will go into. And then a Democrat who was upset that President Trump's SNAP requirements may require some people to work. How dare he? So, let's get right into it. Kroger Foods to close 60 stores nationwide, mainly due to criminal activity and inventory loss through theft. Some of these stores were underperformers anyway, and with the loss of any merger options that Kroger was looking for, they're going to close these stores down. But mainly, it was due to theft in a lot of these locations. Retailers nationwide faces a surge of organized retail crime, which is when you see ORC, that's what that means, organized retail crime. The National Retail Federation in 2025 found a report and 18% in shoplifting incidents in 2024 compared to 2023, with violent or threatening behavior rising 17% during theft events. Now, if you go back even further, those numbers are even further back to about 2020, where it was just outright looting of these stores, and it's still going on today. So retailers are contending with rising levels of theft, fraud, and violence while continuing to refine security measures utilizing technologies and partner with law enforcement. That's baloney. Because what was happening was, in a lot of places, the judges were just releasing these people. The police were doing their job. When called, they would make arrests in some cases, and other times they'd say, hey, they can steal $900, up to $900, and, we can't do anything about it. they'll arrest them, but they'll just sign themselves out on cashless bond, and that will be the end of it. And this was during the Joe Biden administration. If anyone who denies that is a liar. And this was part of the approach of the Soros-appointed and elected district attorneys in a lot of these cities, where they just turned a blind eye, and they called it social justice. And then screamed racism when these stores would close, and big chain stores would go, we're moving out of the neighborhood. CVS, Walgreens, a lot of those retailers were just hightailing it out because of safety concerns and, of course, loss of profit. So, then they were told, oh, they're racist, they're, anti whatever. And the real story was that they just couldn't afford it anymore to keep these losses and maintain loss prevention. And the threat to the people working there. They just couldn't maintain it. Walmart and other food stores and a lot of other retailers are now locking everything up behind plexiglass. If you go into some of these stores and you look and you go, well, I want to buy detergent. I got to call someone to come get it. So what has happened is because of progressives who now say that, well, you're going to treat everyone the same. You're going to treat them, if you're going to lock it up, then you got to lock it up for everyone, and you're going to treat everyone as if they're criminals and coming here to steal. And that's what's going on. So when I go into a store, I can't get what I want because it's locked up, because the store's afraid I'm a criminal. Where if you go on YouTube, if you go on Google, if you go out on Grok, if you go out on any of these ones and take a look at the videos on who's doing the looting, I would say that in 90% of the videos, you'll see that it's non-whites. Oh, there's whites in there doing it too. There's no doubts about it. But you can see that most of the times it's black, Latino, South American, who knows, but, it isn't Hasidim that is looting. If you've seen Hasidim looting, please send me the details, and I will, of course, post that. So we know what the problem is, and no one wants to talk about it, because it's so touchy. Well, it's not touchy. They're criminals. And isn't it funny? They found every person on January 6th, right? And they have videos of all these people. They have license plate numbers of people who robbed stores, and nothing happened to them. So 9,000 jobs will be lost just for Kroger, and nationwide, worldwide. 9,000 jobs will be lost in the U.S. retail theft, which was allowed in many U.S. cities. Blue had retailers like CVS to close down stores over safety issue. And again, by the way, these facts were pointed out last year. These are not 2025. This happened when Joe Biden was president, who allowed all that nonsense to continue under his administration, and didn't tell cities, hey, you got to clean up your act. Hey, you got to watch out for this. Hey, you got this going on. Do you need help? Nope. Summer of love, right? And now I always stress that I don't have a bias. I'm using facts here. So that's not biased. I'm using facts. I'm using common sense. That is not a bias. My bias doesn't exist in this case because the facts prove what I'm saying. And, you know, you can turn around and go, oh, well, I could show you instances where other people or other races did things. Yes, you can. You can. You can. Absolutely, you can do that. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. But I'm saying in the majority of the cases that went on under social justice, every American saw what was going on. Well, how do you think Donald Trump won? Do you think Donald Trump created more Republicans? No. No, he did not. But what he did do was get Democrats to vote Republican because they were seeing firsthand what was going on between crimes. We see it today. Philadelphia refuses to accept what's going on in Kensington. Chicago, Mayor Johnson, refuses to acknowledge what's going on in his city. Los Angeles, they refuse to take responsibility for what's going on and stopping it. Because their voters are the ones doing the stealing, the selling of drugs, the prostitution. AOC's area in New York City has now opened street prostitution. Police won't go in there because they just can't do it. There's going to be city blocks in Manhattan where there will be no police response except for murders and stabbings. The people there will police themselves. How do you think that's going to work out, folks? So you can now go into those areas knowing that you can partake in prostitution activities. You can buy drugs. You could sell drugs. I doubt if you could sell drugs there because that's a closed market. I mean, you'll be one of the police respondents that have to pick you up after you shot or stabbed. But you can go and sell guns there. You could sell stolen merchandise. And that's all part of the plan. That is all part of the plan of the progressives to bring down the value systems of this republic. And if you don't think so, then you don't understand what's going on out there. You know, you think, well, you know, people should be able to do drugs and, yeah. I want a crane operator who's high on meth. I want a cab driver who can be high on drugs. I want people so high on drugs that they can't work, yet to buy their drugs, they'll have to engage in criminal activity, right? That's what you want, right? That's what you're asking for, folks. And that's what's going on. And if you don't think that's not the truth, all you have to do is look online for the truth. And you can turn around and go, no, that's the conservative media going at it. No, that's also the liberal media not reporting the truth to you and showing you what's really going on in the cities. The idea of the conservative news, what, Fox, Breitbart, Newsmax, these are the ones that you're worried about, yet you swear up and down that MSNBC is the gospel truth. And we know that has not been the case. Joe Biden is just doing great, folks. He's the sharpest he could ever be. Pelosi, and the minute he stumbled, they et tu, Brutus, they will stab him. So that's not a bias. That's just reporting the facts. So, in that, this is an interesting turn of events, and part of my shows are going to be if the Democrats win New York, if and or Jay Jones of Virginia, Attorney General, who said he would have liked to have put 2 bullets in the head of his opposition and then murder his children. If these guys win, this will be the demise in 2026 of the Democratic Party. This is your last chance. This is the Democrats' last chance of avoiding total catastrophe come 2026. Oh, you're going to lose in 2026, and you're going to lose badly. But if you have a Mamdani win in New York and or a Jay Jones win in Virginia, you guys are going to be slaughtered who are running for election, and slaughtered by the voters. Okay? Just putting it out there, saying what's going to happen. I wasn't going to get into that part right away, but that's just the way it is. And with these stores closing, you're having a bunch of stores closing, and they're using AI as an excuse. AI is coming for a lot of the stores. You'll put stuff into a shopping cart, and it will automatically start ringing all that up for you. They'll have a little scanner on it, and you'll put it in there, and if you try not to scan it, it will know. And you can't push it out the door into the parking lot because the brakes will lock if you haven't paid it. Alarms will ring. So AI is coming into the retail arena, and it is to combat theft. It is, now you might say, hey, this will be more convenient for me now because I don't have to call someone to get something out of plexiglass, and it takes 2 hours to go shopping, which normally would take 20 minutes, because every aisle you have to get someone to open the damn locked gate, unless you go online and say, just deliver it to my house, and then you're not shopping, and you're not touching, you're not feeling. And, you might not get what you want, or it might come half completed. And, it's just not the way I want to do shopping. But AI is coming, and like Walmart said, they're going to embrace AI. Now, the problem with anyone embracing AI in this manner and going both feet in to the water is that you might invest so much into it that you can't get out of it, and you can't maintain it. We spent, $300 million upgrading everything to this AI platform, and a new, better product comes out there, and we got to scrap that $300 million and spend $120 million. Now you have a $420 million investment that you might have had other avenues to do, and now you're taking even bigger losses. So AI is coming. I don't know how they're going to roll it out. But I think the first thing that they're going to roll out are the shopping carts where you just put it in there. To activate your shopping cart, you're going to have to use some type of card, and it's going to be cashless, and that will activate it. So they'll know who's going there, even with a loyalty card or something where you're tied into, and that you put it in there. That's a sale, and it will know. If you try to put something in there without it being barcoded or however they're going to do it. And they'll make it work because that's easy technology. That's easy technology, not inexpensive technology. But if you can get an 18% loss down in stolen items and be able to reduce your cashiers down to, 2 instead of 6, and still have a self-checkout aisle and stuff, for people that don't have credit cards or something, that you can address all that. But it will certainly stop EBT theft, which is a major problem. So it has a lot of benefits to it that can help a store maintain profitability, but they're going to have to invest a lot of money into it. I don't know if most of them can. I don't know if there's enough in the bucket for them to do that. So interesting stuff going on there, and we all know who's doing most of the stealing. Okay, right? We know. We see it. All right. The other thing, Texas Governor Greg Abbott warns any New Yorkers trying to flee to Texas after the Madani win will have a 100% tariff put on them. Yeah. See, that's crazy world republic. I don't know if this story was really a story, but I did pick it up, and some other people picked it up today too, and we're running with it. States can't penalize you for moving to them, but states can penalize you for moving out of their states, like in New York and New Jersey. They have what's called an exit fee. So if they can have an exit fee, can they have an entrance fee? I'm saying legally they probably could, since the states are allowed to have an exit fee. Now, I don't know if Governor Abbott is serious about that. I don't see the legislators voting for that. That's just not a good thing to do. How do you enforce it other than like if you go to DMV and you change your driver's license? Oh, you came from New York. Oh, okay. Yes, the license fee is $35, and then there's an entrance fee into our state of $250. Could they do that? I'm guessing they could. You'll have a lot of people not using, they'll keep their New York State ID that will only last so long, because your car has to be registered, and if they see the car there and the license plate reader say, we picked that car up here 3 months ago on our license plate reader, and hey, are you living here now? You're supposed to change that all over. So I can see how it could be enforced, and I can see how it could be played. Do I really think they're going to do it? I don't know. Sounds wacky. It's unclear if there's a legal avenue for Texas to treat people like imported goods and place an extra tax on them. I would say yes. There is legal ground to say, hey, we're charging people who are moving here. I know when I moved to South Carolina to register my vehicle, there was a $500 first-time processing fee, or maybe it was $300, first-time processing fee for changing my residency status. So I'm going to say yes, it can be done. I'm just saying that instead of getting those people, away, I'd say, listen, if you want to move to Texas and you're from New York, we're going to waive those fees for you and anyone else fleeing their states. We're going to do away with it. You come here. Just please leave your liberal politics in New York and come here and embrace our conservative politics. I can see something along those lines. But what I think will happen is Mondani will try to go after people who cancel their driver's license and move to another state, and it goes through motor vehicle because Texas will notify New York that this person has changed their driver's license to Texas. And I think Mondani is going to try to pass a law that says, say, he can come back after you for an exit fee from New York City. That I could see happening. And, hey, you wanted this guy? Or you didn't want this guy? You got him now, and or you will have him. We won't know till tonight, but the people are saying that there's a good chance that he'll win. Even though Donald Trump yesterday endorsed Cuomo, I think it's a little too late for that. And personally, I think the Republicans are drooling at the idea of a socialist winning in New York City. It just adds fuel to the fire. And it makes for an easy target, an easy venue for them to go after. And I think the Democrats just walked right into that. I think Schumer, who did not endorse Mondani, Jeffries, who was in the end forced to endorse him very reluctantly, and I just think that like John Fetterman, the senator from Pennsylvania, had stated that, hey, if New York City wants a socialist Democrat, who I also label as me, not John Fetterman, a communist, okay, but that should not be the model for the Democratic Party. And he's absolutely correct. I think that's these people running and embracing him and saying this is great for New York is suicidal. Suicidal. These people are nuts. I just don't. I don't get it. There's a lot of talk about them fighting him and and challenging him on his rights to be there, Mondani. But I'll get into that a little bit later. I have a little open discussion with that. My other topic of the day is what most Democrats get wrong with the Medicaid debate going on. And I'll just read what I've taken in and what my spin is on it. That the president is concerned early this year on eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicaid, his directive, and it was a directive, called on both states and federal agencies to manage and improve their integrity systems in eligibility verification and stop paying for services that are not being received in practicality, the recipients. This is not an ideological or even a political stab at Medicaid. This is a practical and just common sense. Before expanding any program, it should be evaluated that the current program is itself manageable. Is it working properly? Before we go on and expand it or do anything else, where are the flaws with it that we need to improve? And of course, building a better platform is really what they needed around existing spending. Isn't heartless. It's how we ensure that the most vulnerable people are actually getting the services that they need. And this is something the Democrats will just not do. In one case, I was reading it, and it was in Kentucky, $800 million wasted there alone. Money paid out over 4 years for individuals who may no longer even live in the state. Yet they're paying to a managed healthcare system. And they've because the states, and it's a state problem, but I'll get into why it's a state problem and why the federal government couldn't get into it. The Department of Medicaid Services in Kentucky failed to follow the federal alerts designed to prevent duplicate payments across multiple state lines. The investigation led to at least one case being examined where a person was receiving Medicaid concurrently from 8 different states. It's not a crack or like this is a one-off in the system. It's systemic to the system because the states refused to send the federal government. They fought that the federal government can demand from the states a list so that they can compare. And they said, well, we'll give you a list and of the ones that we do have, and you have to check it. And they refused. States had refused it. Red states refused and blue states refused because there was just so much money involved. So much money. It's a national systemic problem. One that demands national attention and mandated reform. If you're going to receive payments through the federal system, and the federal system should have complete 100% access to your providers. And the government should be able to go through it, like through Doge, and check for fraud and misuse and people who should not be on the system. And Democrats, this is the Democrats, they don't want that. They want to expand it and make it even bigger without any of the guardrails, without any of the mandated supervision that needs to be done. Nope. Nope. And this is why the Republicans are saying, hey, there are people getting this that shouldn't be getting it. And they have no problems with citizens getting Medicaid. None. But this is what they're screaming. They're taking it away from people. No, they're not taking it away from people. They want to make sure the people that are getting it should be getting it. So, this is where the Democrats are getting it wrong. And this is where the Republicans are really making a very, very good case. And the Democrats, it's going to be hard for them to defend their positions on it because it's just the wrong position. So we shall see as it goes into, what, 35 days, 36 days. So I said yesterday how companies will be moving out of New York City and with a communist win, socialist communist win. Now some CEOs have vowed to revolt against a Madani win. And some Republicans are considered a Civil War era law that to stop Madani, I just can't get that guy's name right, becoming the next New York City mayor, using the Insurrection Act. That is a stretch because the Insurrection Act was really, really against Confederates who were looking to become back into the politics, and they didn't want those Confederates that sat on a Confederate Senate and Congress to become now part of the Union. They didn't want that. You know, you can't do that. And they barred them, exception of one that won their case against being barred from running for office. I think there is a lot more that they can get this guy on falsifying paperwork and doing stuff that he shouldn't have. Now, is that going after him? Yes. Where if he never stood in the spotlight, no one would have ever known. But since he now stood in the spotlight, people are going, oh, look what he wrote here. Look what he signed here. Where no one ever looked before and they didn't care. So is it being targeted? No. But he's being exposed because he exposed himself. People in glass houses, right? Got to be careful. I think that you will have companies now taking a big look at, mostly in a global economy. Hey, is the United States a safe place to do business, to park money, to do this, to have a very unstable government? And they might be taking their monies to a place like Dubai, where if I was a billionaire company executive, I might be looking for a Dubai as a safe haven. Keep that ready to go in a moment's notice. And let's park some money over there and see how that works out and see what they can do for us over there. And you'll have the New York and you'll have other mayors of other cities that will jump on what this guy is doing, where they're going to just tax people. And it won't be tax, it will be a fee, it will be stuff. You're doing some type of business over there. Well, you did it to one of our people in the state of New York, you must pay for the right to do business here. So, and you'll have some people going, hey, if you're a New York resident, we're not going to sell it to you. If you're a New York City resident, we're not going to sell it to you. Or if we do, you have to pay extra because that's what it's going to cost us. And, you'll have companies opening up in the shadows, and it'll be like an Egyptian marketplace. That's what you're getting. And the CEOs are going, we're not going to compete against that. We just won't do business with you. And, we'll see how that works. President Trump, I will call you after the show. Keep telling you, don't call me when I'm doing my show. I know you like it, and I know you're happy with it.
John Acosta has a fantastic podcast called News with a View. I listen to it anytime I see him post.
Oh, look at that, huh? Yeah. Unless you put 911 on there, Mr. President, I'm not going to listen to it. Unless it's a 911 text that you send me. If I get a little beep here that it's a 911, then I'll stop my show and I'll talk to you. But we're not there yet. All right. Enough with Ma'am Donnie. I'm more upset about Jay Jones of Virginia, who's running for the Attorney General, who said in a text that he would like, to put 2 bullets into the head of his opponent and then murder his children, his opponent's children. That this guy is still, the Democrats did not say, hey, you're gone. You're gone. There were some grumblings by some Democrats that, this was wrong of him, and he apologized. The Democratic Party is the party most likely to do violence. Proven. It's not a bias. Proven. So, and you go, well, no, those are anarchists. Those are people you support. You support them. You can't say you don't. Can't say you don't. So, any win for the Democrats with some of these people is going to be their demise. You're going to win just to lose. And only a few Democrats sitting there going, this is a mistake. We shouldn't be doing this. All right. We have a representative, Anaya Presley, out of Massachusetts, who claimed in an interview that Trump administration is being cruel, punishing SNAP beneficiaries, recipients, to work in order to receive public assistance. Now, do you really think that that's a bad thing for them to do? To say you must work or something, or do something, or volunteer your time in an established organization? You think that's a bad thing to do? Maybe you do 10 hours a week helping run a AA meeting, or or a drug abuse or a family violence meeting, to help people that you can help set up and you could be part of. Okay, if you can't run it, maybe you could help, and you're a volunteer. You're going to set up the chairs. You're going to, greet people. You're going to hand out leaflets, and you might not be able to work because you have such a criminal record that no one's going to hire you. And I think that's a problem for a lot of people. And I'd like to try to figure out a way to address that. Or, you might have 6 kids at home, but grandma can watch them for, 2 hours or 3 hours a week, so you can go to these meetings and help other people. I don't mind giving you aid for that. Yeah, sure. Well, she had 6 kids or, whatever, and that's her own fault. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a fact. But if she can't work, but if she can volunteer, don't you think that that is worth something? I do. I think that. Be it through a church group, be it through an organizational group. I think volunteering, if you can't work, or you won't work, don't know, able or, unable or unwilling, but you can do this, I think that's worth something. I think that's a first step. So I have no problem with that. I do think that SNAP benefits should only, only be allowed for, good food, hot food. Because a lot of these people, they might not have a working stove. They might not have a microwave. They need hot food, that a lot of the stores prepare, and you can go and eat it, bring it home and serve it. I don't think Doritos or Fritos or Wise potato chips or pretzels should be allowed. But I do think that cake mixes, pudding mixes is fine. Fruit, whole milk, cereal, maybe, some cookies and snacks and stuff that kids need, that, it's something that they could use. Of course, meat. And toilet paper, and I think toilet paper and feminine hygiene products and things of that sort, soap, should have a limited use on EBT. That, you could spend, 10% of your EBT benefits or 20%, however way you want to work out the numbers, on those type of products. So you could limit it to, you can limit it, but you can't buy soda. You can't buy candy. So there are things that I think that SNAP can be retweaked up a bit. And again, you'll have fraud in any program. People will sit there and try to game the system. It's just the way it works. And I said in yesterday's show, when I worked in Manhattan, I could go down 57th Street and stop in, there were 5 or 6 bodegas along the path and a couple of big food stores. And I could watch the fraud. I go in there and, I'm ordering a coffee and a buttered roll from the deli. The guy comes in with an EBT and he goes, okay, 1 banana, 1 apple, that's $13. And the guy goes, okay. And the guy goes behind the counter, gets the guy a pack of cigarettes and a tall boy. And out the door he walked. And it went on EBT. I saw in front of a major food store, people go in, come out, and they're selling their food outside the store to people. And it wasn't theft. They didn't steal them because the people are right there. They're just selling their EBT. Because, they might be living with people that 3 of them are on EBT. And hey, I get $295 a month on this. If I can get $150 in cash from it, woo-hoo. So there's a lot of gaming of the system. But let's say even if 20% of the people that were gaming the system, out of the 100%, would you say that the 80% that are getting benefits, who are using them, who should be getting them, should be penalized? No, I don't think that's right. So the 20% that are gaming it, you should go after them and try to figure it out. And the merchants that are allowing it and doing it, oh yeah, they should be to the full extent of the law. And, and hotline set up so people can report, hey, this is what I see going on, or this is, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. So, all right, I'm 51 minutes into this program. There are a lot of other things that I need to discuss that will be going on later on today. Today is Tuesday. That is card night with the boys. Though I don't know tonight if I'm going to be up to playing. I just came back. Still not 100% here, but getting there. I want to thank all the people that have joined in the last couple of weeks, and I appreciate that, and who have subscribed. And I keep going out there with shorts. I think my shorts on the video, trying to get people steered to look, have been getting better. I will be, in the next month, probably going on YouTube and finding people that, they live and breathe YouTube. And yeah, they'll charge me, but to retool my site. And, it might be worth it. Again, I do not monetize my site. My site is not monetized. So by me retooling it or using it and saying, I want more viewers, I just want more viewers. I want to hear from people. I like hearing from people. I like knowing what the other person is thinking. And you can turn around and go to me, you're full of crap. Everything you said is wrong. And I'll show you why you're wrong. And I don't mind that. And I'll go back and go, this is why I think I'm right. Take the argument on that approach. And it's not really an argument. It's just, and it's not a debate. As I said, if you've listened to me before, no one wins a debate because each side thinks they made their point. Where the difference is in persuading someone who is on the left to become right or the right to become left. That's a win. That's a win. And in debates, no one comes out like, a winner. It's just, you're going to put the facts out there, and then you're going to let those people decide. And that's the best way to do it. So I like facts. And when I'm wrong, I like facts being presented to me to show me I'm wrong. My opinion is my opinion. Your opinion is your opinion. And, if I can change your opinion because of facts, or you can change my opinion because of facts, that's a good thing, right? We could all agree with that. And I do call people stupid. I do call people ignorant. I will expose these people. Senator Kane out of Virginia, terrible. Raskin out of Delaware, terrible, terrible. The governor of New York, terrible. Gavin Newsom, a clown. There's some Republicans on my list too. I'm not thrilled about Lindsey Graham or Tim Scott. Not crazy about those people. They're a weather vane. Wherever the wind is blowing, that's what they're doing. So I like for people that stand their ground, you know. And when you're right, you're right. When you're wrong, you're wrong. So, all right. With that, I'm going to say, as I always do at the end of all my shows, if you can give to a charity, give to a charity. Just make sure it's a bona fide charity. Don't become a victim helping a victim. And if you're uncomfortable with doing that, and I could certainly understand people not being comfortable with that, go to a food bank, give some food. When you're at the store, if you see buy one, get two free, something like that, and you're using it, or it's something that you go, I can do that because I buy one, I get two more, and now I can give three for the price of one, that's a good thing. Do something like that. And then when you're there, you could ask them, do you need towels? Do you need blankets? Do you need coats? Do you need, and you might have stuff in your closet. You might have relatives that have that stuff in their closet, never to be used again. Give it to someone who can use it. And it's without judgment. It's without saying, well, that's their own fault. Hungry is hungry, and children, there is no fault with a child. So, and you go, well, I'm only going to give 5 cans. What is 5 cans going to do? Well, 5 cans to someone who has no cans. Think of it that way. And just if you're going to give food, you can't give expired food or open food or anything like that. It has to be, it can't be expired or open. And they need a lot of stuff at food banks. They need soap, and feminine products, and toilet paper, and stuff of that sort too. So think about it. The other thing I always say, prayer does work. No matter what a Democrat might tell you. And if you want to know why I throw that reference out there, shoot me a line. I'll tell you why. And with that, I'm going to say good night. As I'm looking at my cameras to see which one I'm on that camera. And I'm going to look over here because I don't put my console in front of me. It's on my side, which is, I really would love to build a table with everything built into it, but I'm too lazy. All right, with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Look for me. I might have a show later on tonight, but definitely we'll have one tomorrow as I fade to black.